and you don't want to have a delay when you go to make that. So making political content is actually somewhat of a newer thing for me. I only started back in September when Charlie Kirk was killed, but I've actually spent the majority of my life being a professional mixed martial arts fighter and coach. And I spent about close to 10 years in law enforcement or law enforcement type roles. So for me, I've spent really the majority of my life teaching people how to fight, or teaching people how to defend themselves in some way, shape, or form, either using firearms, teaching law enforcement, teaching military. I've gotten to do a lot of different things throughout my life when it comes to do with that. So I want to pass some of that on. If you don't like that, feel free to swipe on. But for the rest of us that love the Second Amendment, this is some stuff for you. So most people, when they think about firearms, they think the most important thing is how tight they can get their group. And I'm gonna tell you, if you look at the statistics of shooting, that's actually probably not the most important thing when it comes to self-defense shootings, when it comes to law enforcement shootings. Most shootings happen within arm's reach or just outside of arm's reach of another person, of the attacker, the threat. So really, one of the most important things that's overlooked is people's draw. You have to become proficient at your draw. I'm going to show you the things that I do to work on my draw. If it works for you, awesome. If you think it's stupid, discard it. But for me, I focus on not having a delay when I go to make a draw. If you see a lot of people before they get into a fight, or a lot of people before they have to do something to engage with a threat, there'll be this moment where they get really still and then they do it. They kind of freeze up, they think through what they want to do. So when you practice, you want to keep some type of a movement going on, and you don't want to have a delay when you go to make that draw. You don't want to worry about standing still, then doing something. A lot of times you'll see people start to hike their clothes up and you'll see them freeze, and then they'll throw a punch, or maybe they'll go to draw a firearm or some type of a weapon. So when you draw, you want to get as much clothing as possible. If you pelvic carry like me, I try to get as much clothing as possible. I raise it as high as I can. I try to make a good purchase on that firearm with the webbing of my thumb underneath the beaver tail of my gun. That is the most important motion that I'm worried about. Then honestly, my pinky and ring finger clasp, and that is what I'm most worried about. Because when I come out, I'm going to have a very good bite on that gun. This is what I'm worried about. A lot of people, when you see in movies, you'll tell they're not proficient shooters, because you'll see them holding the firearm like this, and there's this giant gap. Now when they go to shoot, the gun's gonna be all over the place because they do not have a good purchase grip on that firearm. I have a, what's it called? Antimatter grip on here, so I have to reholster it a little weird. That's why you see me doing that. But when you go to make that draw, you're getting as much clothing as possible. You're worried about that detail of getting that good bite, and I'm pulling out from there. A lot of times you're not even gonna see the sights on your gun inside of a shooting. You're not gonna be worried about leveling off your back and top sights, or if you have an optic like me, you're probably not even gonna see it. You might even have the firearm down here, which is what I would most likely suggest, depending on the distance of the person. I'm worried about getting out, getting rounds on, and then maybe pulling back. So I'd say the three most important things to worry about is getting as much clothing out of the way, getting that good bite on the back of your gun underneath your beaver tail with the web of your thumb. You're pulling out, and that's it. You can do that drill hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and you don't want to create that freeze in front of it. You don't want to have to slow anything down. You want to be able to come out and get that gun out of the holster. So I hope you find that useful. I hope it's something that you'll be able to start to build that muscle memory with, because when it comes down to a bad situation, the most important thing is not going to be your group. It's going to be your draw.